Calls for Puerto Rico's governor to step down are intensifying today after what appeared to be the largest protest on the island in decades. Overnight, thousands gathered outside Governor Ricardo Rossello's mansion and called for him to resign immediately. The demonstrations turned violent as protesters clashed with police. Many ran when the tear gas was fired into the crowd. David Begnaud was in the middle of the protest last night and joins us now with the latest on this story from San Juan. David, have you heard any word on how long we can expect these protests to continue?
No, we haven't, but I have asked protesters if they're getting tired, and they say not at all. In fact, every time the governor gives an interview like he did yesterday with Fox, it adds fuel to their fire. It was a wild and chaotic night. Let me walk you through it. So you got broken glass. This is the scene in many parts of San Juan. There's new graffiti on the street. Excuse us, sir. If you look at this vehicle, this is the car that caught fire last night. Kenton, show the viewers, if you can, that's the tear gas canister right there that led the back of this car to burn. In fact, on the ground this morning, you can see some more of the canisters fired by police. This man, Robbie, is the gentleman whose the car belongs to him. He had been participating in the protest yesterday during the day, but he was with a friend last night when police fired tear gas at protesters and one of the canisters landed in his vehicle. Here's that video.
It happened right around midnight. You see from about 50 yards away that tear gas canister come flying through the air and right into the back of that SUV. Tear gas was first deployed by police around 11 p.m., and that sent protesters running. The Puerto Rico Police Department resorted to force after plastic water bottles were continuously thrown at them. But just a few troublemakers ended up ruining the night for a majority of peaceful people. We spoke to Elliot Rivera about why he's here protesting.
No parties, no colors, just Puerto Ricans fighting for our rights.
We noticed that the front line is filled with very young faces, some as young as 15. Kania Nunez is 21.
Tell me why you're here.
I'm here because I have a daughter, and she needs a future, a good future with good government. And right now, they are stealing our money.
Hundreds of thousands of demonstrators kicked off the week by shutting down a major highway, and the crowd size was massive. Puerto Ricans are frustrated about corruption, the debt crisis, and a slow recovery following Hurricane Maria. They're also upset about leaked chat messages, where the governor and some of his associates made sexist and homophobic remarks and mocked constituents, including those who died during Hurricane Maria.
I've seen the protest.
On Monday, the governor apologized for the chat language on Fox News. He said he was not going to run for re-election in 2020, but he also made clear he still has no plans to resign.
We've made policy changes that are significant for women, for LGBTQ. Everything that was said, I assume responsibility for. I apologize.
His refusal to leave has made popular Puerto Ricans like Residente dumbfounded and furious.
This is the first time that Puerto Ricans are united, and if Ricky Rosselló doesn't resign today, we have to do something about it.
Residente is a popular rapper who literally has been on the front lines leading people to continue to protest daily. Puerto Rico police have just arrived to take pictures of the vehicle that burned last night after police fired tear gas into the back of it. Tony, I should tell you, yesterday in that Fox News interview that Ricardo Rossello gave to Shepard Smith, Shep asked him who on the island supports you, and he kind of fumbled and couldn't name anybody, and then he said the mayor of San Sebastian. We called the mayor of San Sebastian, and the mayor told CBS News he does not support the governor.
Wow, David. And so the answer appears to be no support, no official support anyway at this moment. Incredible footage there and incredible reporting for us. David Begnaud in Puerto Rico. David, thank you very much.
The Iranian flag is now flying above the Stena Impero in a clear sign that Tehran is doubling down on its prize.
Don't look at me, please.
State television has released footage of the crew, still on board the tanker and seemingly in good spirits. But it's an awkward watch, a bit forced in places. Because behind the smiles, the reality is that they are not free to leave. This is a hostage video in every sense. The Foreign Secretary again described the interception as illegal and announced to the House of Commons that the UK was putting together a European-led maritime coalition to patrol the Gulf.
The new force will be focused on free navigation, bearing in mind that 1/5 of the world's oil, 1/4 of its liquefied natural gas, and trade worth $500 billion passes through the Strait of Hormuz every year.
The Royal Navy already has a frigate, HMS Montrose, in the Gulf, and a second warship, HMS Duncan, will join her in a few days. But they need support. The Royal Navy doesn't have the resources anymore to do it alone.
What we're discovering is that, or have known all along, but it's now being made very clear to us, is you can only be in one place at a time. And when the strait is 90 plus nautical miles long, and add a bit more at either end for sort of sensible picking up points, you are automatically going to expose yourself if you only have one ship with one helicopter covering that mission.
Theresa May chaired another Cobra meeting this morning, the fourth since the tanker was taken and possibly her last as Prime Minister. The Ministry of Defence is now looking at what more the UK could send to the region. The finer detail of the proposed coalition needs ironing out. Who, for example, will command the mission. But it is understood that the French and Germans, amongst others, have made positive noises about joining. The Iranian tanker Grace 1 remains anchored and impounded in Gibraltar's waters still. Britain has said it will be released if Iran guarantees that it won't sell to unload its oil in Syria. It is a standoff now between London and Tehran, but more and more countries are being dragged into this crisis. Alistair Bunkle, Sky News.
Dangerous flash flooding is slamming the East Coast this morning as the region cools down from a deadly record-breaking heat wave. The threat, which started Monday, extends from Tennessee to Rhode Island. At the height of yesterday's storm, more than 325,000 people were without power in the mid-Atlantic region. Don Daler shows us just how the storm rolled through.
Intense storms pounded the Northeast Monday as millions were still reeling from days of relentless heat. Powerful winds and heavy downpours set off car alarms in Brooklyn, and flash flooding quickly submerged city streets. Some New Yorkers were stranded, while others decided to brave knee-high flooding. Torrential rain poured into subway stations and blocked highways during the evening rush. All lanes on the Long Island Expressway were closed when this woman took matters into her own hands, wading out of her car and using a traffic cone to clear a clogged sewer grate. Golf ball-sized hail fell in New Jersey as intense winds downed trees and power lines.
Tree branches are falling all around me, and then I get to this one telephone pole, and this wire, I saw it snap right off the pole.
An 89-year-old man died in Maryland when a tree fell on him in his driveway during a storm. More heavy rain is expected this morning throughout the Northeast. For CBS This Morning, Don Daler, New York.
Here now with reaction, President Trump's attorney, former mayor of New York City, the guy that was responsible for bringing the murder rate down from about 2,500 a year to way under 500. And I remember almost every day you were called a racist. You saved thousands of lives every year you were mayor. Here we have cops treated this way, Mr. Mayor. No cop is going to want to save a life if this is allowed to continue.
Well, this is very, very dangerous, Sean, and it's the result of years and years by this totally incompetent mayor of anti-police rhetoric, going way back to when he was first in office, and the guy came from Baltimore and assassinated officers Lou and Ramos, assassinated them in a car after he had made some very, very scurrilous comments about the NYPD. The NYPD is the greatest law enforcement agency in the world, Sean. It is not an all-white police department. It's 50% nothing. It's white, black, Asian. The police officer you see being assaulted with that water is an Asian police officer, a rookie.
Watch
poor
this,
kid
a whole
is just,
bucket
the
dunked
poor
on his
kid
head.
is just out of the academy, and
What
he's
is
been
he supposed to do?
taught-
Because I know what I would do. I'd turn around and fight back.
Well, I had at least, I run a security business. I work with a lot of police officers, FBI agents. I must have had 30 phone calls and 30 people that came up to me, police officers and FBI agents and federal agents, who said they understood what this kid was going through. If you were on the job 5, 6 years, you'd have taken that person, you'd have arrested them. This kid is on probation. He knows the mayor will turn on him. I don't care what de Blasio is saying now. He's turned on the cops over and over again.
So now
and
he's got to. He has to accept that he's going to be assaulted as a police officer. That's what we're now telling him.
And where's Schumer, AOC, our Democrat representatives in Congress? Where are they standing up for the police? No place. They're hiding. I'm standing up for the police. Bernie Kerik is standing up for the police.
So am I.
Pat Lynch is standing up for the police.
They can't do this to cops because no cop is going to want to save their life if this continues.
This goes back to Obama. It goes back to Hillary Clinton not allowing uniformed police officers at the Democratic convention. They're disgraceful. And the gentleman that was on right before me is absolutely right. This leads to very serious crime. The deputy police commissioner or officer today held a press conference. There are random shootings going on in New York now. People being killed, being shot by random bullets. I inherited that and I stopped it, and Bloomberg kept it that way. And this, I can't even say what I would call him. This mayor is a disgrace. And I don't care if he's saying it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen because you allowed it to happen. You encouraged it, my friend.
Well, Mr. Mayor, all right, let me just ask you a quick question about tomorrow. I want the real Russian story told by Republicans in these committees. Your thoughts?
Well, the real Russian story is that Mueller was a complete incompetent, and he had a completely disgraceful set of prosecutors, including Weissman, who has been proven to have basically gotten pretty close to suborning perjury at least 3 times, including trying to get a Ukrainian oligarch to give false testimony. And he's been basically exposed by the guy's lawyers in John Solomon's column yesterday. That's what's got to come out. What's got to come out is this was a plot. It was a counterintelligence plot that was conceived in Washington and played out by Ukraine, UK, Australia, Italy. They all cooperated to frame President Trump.
This was an attempted coup.
It was an attempt to stop him and then to take him out of office. It's what we call a frame-up in law enforcement. And it's disgraceful. And Mueller either knew about it or he's so damn incompetent he didn't know about it, which maybe is even worse.
Mr. Mayor, we'll be watching.
And it should be exposed tomorrow.
Do their job.
And if it isn't, I'll expose it the next day. I got plenty of facts.
So do I. All right, you can come on my show. We'll do it together for the hour.
One day, Jesus is coming. You may be at church. You may be at work. You may be asleep. God grant that you will be ready when he makes his personal appearance. My God, what if his appearance occurs on a Sunday morning? My prophetic word to you this morning is get ready! Get ready!
If Jehovah came back right now, would you make it?
Hell is a real place, and I don't want you to go there.
We've been reporting on the bizarre phenomenon that seems to be taking place not just in this country, but all over the world.
Getting angry at God isn't going to solve anything.
Don't but damn me, young lady. I done said you can see that boy when we get to church.
This is not the way it's supposed to be.
Breaking news, there appears to be a rash of catastrophic incidents taking place across the state.
Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then Jesus said, I will profess unto them, I never knew you.
Esta ha sido una mañana muy espantosa de un catástrofe después del otro.
Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So robes and positions and titles and classifications and auxiliaries and departments and works and paying your tithe and paying your dues will not save you.
We are still experiencing the aftershocks of the massive earthquake that have devastated this entire region.
But if you want to be raptured, you must be born again.
Citizen older in South Korea work here one moment and going the next.
You must be washed in the blood of the Lamb.
I'm on my way to church.
What, Mama? I just got off the phone with Mamie Cutler. She told me you the one got her granddaughter Jackie pregnant. Pregnant? Did I stutter? Pregnant, Bobby. What do you have to say for yourself?
Bobby, what's wrong with you, dude? Don't you know your mother loves you? She loves you. I love you. I'm your mentor. And you told me you would go to church today.
Brandon was looking forward to us going to church as a family again.
Brandon. For you.
Mommy, are you sad that I'm here?
No, baby. No. Mommy loves you. I wouldn't trade you for anything in the world.
It's over! We've all been left behind. It's gonna be joyful for those who are raptured, but it's gonna be sad for those who are left behind. Life as we know it.
You swore to me that you were going to get yourself together and start coming to church with me.
Not today, okay?